Hi guys, today we are going to be trying out another new release from Nomad Cosmetics, and I'm really excited because I got this in the mail before it launched, and I'm excited to show this to you because I feel like there's been a lot of Valentine's releases in the past that have just been kind of boring, and I don't feel like this palette is boring, and this is a Valentine's release, so I'm excited about that. So this is the Verona palette. I don't know exactly what like the proper name of this is, but this is like the easiest way for me to say what this palette is. So we have actually a double-sided palette here, which I like the idea of this because it has sort of two different color stories in one. Practically, I'm not so sure I love this sort of double-sidedness because I have used this a little bit now and it does get a little cumbersome trying to, keep it open, and it's also kind of large, so I kind of wish it was just normal flat, but that's just me being nitpicky. But this palette is going to be launching on the 24th. I do have a code with Nomad. It's just Annette, and it will save you 10% off. It is affiliated, just so you know. But we're going to go ahead and do two looks with this. So I've already filmed one look with this, so I think what I'm going to do, because I do have some thoughts, and I don't think anyone's surprised because I feel like I always have thoughts. So like I said, I think we're gonna do that. I'm gonna show you that look right now at the beginning of the video because I want to share with you how I feel about this palette so far before we go into doing a second look with this, because I want to sort of see if my suspicions with some of these other shades are the way that I felt about the first look that I did. So I did really end up liking the first look. I thought that the mattes performed beautifully. They blended out so nicely. They were really pigmented. They built nicely. I didn't have any issues per se with the mattes. It was mostly when it came to the shimmers, and I feel like I say this a lot about Nomad, and I feel like my opinion is maybe a bit unpopular, but I feel like Nomad's shimmers can sometimes be a little bit hard to work with. Sometimes they tend to be very, very hard pressed, and it's tough to like pick them up on a brush. But when you do get them on the eyes, they look beautiful. So I understand why a lot of people like them, but I struggle to transfer the pigment from the pan to my eye. And I have a lot of brushes. I'd like to think that I know how to work with most shadows by now, and I feel like I really, really have to dig into the pans to really get anything onto my brush. And I also need to use a glitter primer or like spray my brush or something like that. But it's just, some of them are just hard to get onto the eyes. And I felt the same way about the Holiday Quad that I do, the 9 pan that I do about some of the shimmers in here. I did just swatch this palette, and not all of the shimmers are the same. Some are more hard pressed than others, but I did find that the ones that I used in the first look was kind of hard pressed, but they did wear beautifully throughout the day. So I would say that the hassle of trying to get them onto your eye is worth the result, because I really did end up liking how it looked. It was just, it took a little bit longer than I would have liked for it to get to that point, but at the end of the day, I was really happy with the look. I was really happy about the wear time. And I like the color story in this. I think it's very interesting, and I like the fact that you can sort of mix and match the sides. So this is a Romeo and Juliet inspired palette. I probably forgot to even say that, which I also think is really cool and different. Like I don't feel like I've seen any other brands do a collection like this or a palette like this. So we're gonna go ahead and do one more look, and I'm gonna see if I can use, I'm sorry if I'm making a lot of sound. I'm gonna see if I can use some of the shades in here that I didn't use in the first look. So I'm just gonna prime again with my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base. I do have a little bit of blue staining on my eyes, just under my eye from my eyeliner yesterday, because I had some blue in there, so I figured maybe using some of the blues and maybe the grays today could be sort of fun, and using some of the shades that I wasn't able to put on my eyes in the first look. The only complaint, I don't know if I'd say complaint, this is also just me being nitpicky. The only thing I would say about the color story is I feel like the warm tone side gets kind of repetitive. Just there's a lot of colors. I'm sure you saw it in the swatches. Like a lot of these just look very similar, and I feel like I've seen this before. Like this I've seen on its own. This I've certainly not seen on its own or put together with something like this. So I think that this side is more well done. That's bad English, you know what I'm trying to say. Then this side, I feel like there could have been some more, I don't know what it is that I'm missing. I just feel so many of these shades look exactly the same, and I thought that when I swatched it too. I was like, wow, like basically all of these sort of mid-tone mattes just kind of blur into one, and I know that they're different colors, but maybe there could have been a couple of tweaks just to make them a little more different from each other. I'm not sure, again, like what exactly that would be, but I'm not vibing with this side as much as I'm vibing with this side. So I'm gonna combine the two again, probably. I might even just stick to this side because this one, and can you tell I'm holding it like the wrong way because it's just easier this way. I feel like this side resonates more with me and my aesthetics and the colors that I prefer. So since I used some of these in the first look, I think I'm mostly gonna focus on this side right here. And I'm tempted to use this shade. Normally I hate mauves. I don't find mauves to look very good on me, but when I swatched this, I was like, wow, that's a really pretty color. So I think I'm gonna use these two colors in my crease, maybe like these two on my lid. Maybe that could be kind of fun and different. So I'm gonna start with this shade, which is the shade called Dagger. I'm not gonna do anything fancy with the shape of this. I'm gonna do a pretty basic shape again, like I did with the first look, but I just wanna see how these colors perform. And I think that the shimmer I'm gonna use today is gonna be one of the ones that I'm gonna like the most because it swatched the best. It was the loosest in the pan, meaning that it picked up better on my fingers. So I don't think I'm gonna have as hard of a time getting it onto my eyes and getting a nice opaque layer. So we'll see how it goes. The shade is looking really, really nice already. I actually don't mind the color of this. Normally, like I said, I wouldn't be into these kind of colors on myself, and I don't know if that's just the undertone or I don't know. It's just not a kind of color that excites me, but I think this actually looks really nice, and maybe I need to be a bit more open-minded when it comes to mauve shades because I don't mind this. And I think when I deepen it up with the blue, it's gonna look really, really nice as well. I'm gonna go ahead and take this shade underneath my eye as well, just to have it be the same all the way around my eye. And I'm also just going to wing this out a little bit here because I am gonna deepen it up, like I said, with the blue. And I think that's just gonna look really, really nice. And I do want this to be quite a dramatic eye look as well. I did watch Angelica's video before filming this because I was just curious and I'd already filmed one look and I felt like I had sort of made up my mind, and she used the blue and she seemed to have quite a bit of fallout, so I'm gonna try to be a little careful with that dark blue just to make sure that that doesn't happen to me, but knowing myself it probably will because I don't know how to go in light-handed with eyeshadows because I can't help myself. But I am going to use my Rephr 13, which is like the smallest brush that I have that I feel like will be good with this, and I'm gonna grab this dark blue here, which is the one called Poison. I'm gonna tap it off a little bit here just to be on the safe side. I'm just gonna pack it on the outer corner of my eye. I'm gonna try to just pack and not do any blending until I've gotten the shade exactly where it is that I want it to be, just to see if I can prevent any kind of fallout. It might be unavoidable, but we'll see. It's definitely a very powdery shade, but it is looking really nice on the lid, and it seems to be building nicely on top of that transition shade that I used as well. So far, not having any issues at all with any of the mattes, and I really like the matte formula in this palette. It's just the shimmers that I had a little bit of a harder time with. So now that I have most of the pigment down, I'm going to start just blending these two colors together. I'm going to take it through my crease a little bit, but not all the way in. I do prefer my front portion of the lid to be a little bit lighter, but I am also going to blend just a little bit right on the outer corner just to connect it. Yeah, this is looking great. That is pretty much exactly what it is that I was looking for. I find this blue to be very, very easy to work with, which is kind of unusual when it comes to very, very dark blue eyeshadows like this. So having a really good time with these mattes. I think they're performing great. I think I'm just ready for the shimmers. I think this is all I'm gonna do for the mattes. I'm not feeling anything super fancy today. I just want to do a pretty basic eyeshadow look and just see how these shadows perform. I am gonna put down some of my NYX glitter primer though before I put on a shimmer or two. I haven't decided if I want to use one or two yet, but we'll see. I'm gonna start with one at least. Just putting the glitter primer all over my lid pretty much where I want the shimmer to go. And I'm thinking I just want to use this side, honestly, because this side just excites me a little bit more, and I really want to use this shade. So I'm thinking I'll do this shade on all of the front portion and then maybe use a little bit of this blue just to connect the two. So I'm going to start with a shade called I think it's just called Morse. So I'm just gonna pick that up on the sticky side of my brush here, and we're gonna see how this one applies. This one definitely picks up better than the shade that I used in the first look. I'm just gonna basically put this all over the front of my lid, pretty much all over my lid, honestly, because I just want to see how intense I'm able to get this shade. Okay, I am starting to struggle to pick it up a little bit here, but I just need to be patient with this formula, is what I realized. It's going to take more dips into the pan than I would prefer, but once I get them on the eyes, they do look really, really nice. You just kind of have to dig in a little bit to get the results that at least I'm looking for. But when you do that, I mean, it does look really, really, really nice. I love this color. So I'm kind of stopping 2/3 of the way out. I do think I want to use just a little bit of that blue just to sort of merge these two together. I think that could look really nice. And like I said in the beginning, one of the things that I do really like about Nomad shimmers is that they never crease on me. They always look beautiful all day. Once I get them on the eyes, they really stay put. So I'm gonna take this shade, which is definitely more of a satin. So I think that this is going to really help blend the two shades in together here. I'm just gonna kind of merge that in between. And this is a really, really pretty color. I think these are gonna work very nicely together. And because this one isn't as metallic as the front one, is going to blend easier into the matte as well, which I'm definitely experiencing. Like, this looks really nice. I love this color combination. I don't think I've ever done a look like this because I've never had a palette in front of me with this color combination before. So I really do appreciate how different this color story is, because it's not often you come across something that you don't feel like you've seen when you have as much makeup as I have. I feel like at this point it's like almost everything has already been done, and it's more so about the formulas now than it is about the color stories. But this is looking so nice. Like, I really like this. And because I'm a rebel and I don't care if I ruin this look, I'm gonna take some of this shade as well, which is the shade called Cupid, just on the front portion underneath my eye, just for a little bit of something different. This one is one of the ones that are a little bit hard to pick up here, that are a little bit hard pressed. I'm gonna, where is my Fix Plus? It's underneath my lashes. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a little spray here because I do want this to be nice and shiny. Gonna put some of that right here. I feel like that's gonna tie it together nicely. I don't feel like it's so pink that it doesn't like go with the rest of the tones in here, and it just adds something maybe a little unexpected. And I think this is all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put on some lashes and I'll come back and show you the final look and just sort of some of my thoughts on this palette, because I still have some thoughts. Okay, I gotta say, the looks that I've just done with this palette are some of my favorite looks that I've done in quite some time. And I feel like that's gotta count for something, even though I did feel like the first look was a little bit harder to get to where I wanted it to be than the second one. This one I had no issues with. One of the shimmers was a little bit hard pressed, like I said, but it just takes a little bit of patience with these shimmers if you really want like a bam in your face result. And I feel like maybe if you use your finger, if you use like a sponge tip applicator, it's a little bit easier to like get these onto your eyes. But if you just use a little bit of roughness with your brush and really dig it into the pan, you'll be able to pick up shadow and get it onto your eye really nicely, and they're going to wear beautifully. So honestly, I like this palette more now after doing the second look than I did after doing my first look, but also the wear time on the first look made me realize how much I like the formula in here, even though it takes a little bit of extra time just to get onto the eyes, but that's totally fine. I mean, I think this is a really fun palette, and I think that if you're interested in this and what I have just said in this video isn't something that's going to put you off from using this palette, then I think you're going to really like it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much my thoughts. I mean, I feel like I've been pretty straightforward in how I feel about this, and I really like the looks that came out of it. I do have a little bit of fallout here. I actually think that was a mascara smudge that I got in the end. Maybe I should fix that. Maybe I won't bother because I'm not going anywhere today. But that's going to be my thoughts on this palette. Let me know if you plan on picking this up. Let me know what your favorite Nomad palette is. This one is probably, like, color story wise, I think pretty high up for me, but it's not my favorite. And mostly just because I feel like this side is a little too repetitive, and I feel like it could have been done maybe a little bit differently. But I think overall, since it does have two sides to it, and it is like one large palette and one really, you can mix and match them, and you can like use these shades together with, oh no, these shades, you can use these shades together with something else. Now if this was a standalone palette, I don't think that I'd be into this as much, but since you can mix and match, I think that you can do a lot with this palette. And even though this is more of like a one-tone palette, it becomes way more versatile when paired with the other side of this. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see some more Nomad content, I do have a playlist. I'll put that right there. And if you are new, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.